Hello. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. I'm actually from Austria, so I'm the co-founder of Women in Code. My name is Dr. Ondrisek. I have a PhD in computer science from the Technical University in Vienna, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about the IT side today. And first of all, I wanted to present to you Women in Code. That's the two founders of us. So it's me and Eva Lettner. We co-founded this initiative quite not so long ago, quite recently. It was founded in September. So we are now expanding to different other cities and are engaging with different communities also. It's super nice to be here. So thanks for this opportunity. I know it's really, really important. So what is Women in Code? As you probably could guess, it's a tech initiative for women, and we make it easier for women to get into tech. We teach programming skills, and it's for complete beginners. So our courses are for people, women from marketing, from a sales background, maybe some women who already tried programming but failed because they didn't like it, or that they started an online course but they didn't like the online initiative of it and wanted to do it on site with some other people. So what we do is we present them in a study group some materials. So it's not yes, I'm talking about this on the next slide, but we teach people to teach themselves and also to teach others. We do that because when you teach a certain thing, doesn't necessarily has to be programming. When you teach it to someone else, then your brain rewires it and you remember it better and you get better through it. So we also want to inspire because we are positive role models. We are all female programmers, and we also want to empower our participants of Women in Code, because we also offer them the opportunity to be in the next semester then a mentor and also to help out in the organization. For instance, we also at the beginning of every of our study groups or events, we have an introduction round, so everyone has to speak in English in front of all the other participants. So it's our form of empowerment to just slightly push the people into the cold water and see what happens. And for some people it's a little bit tough, but I think this is what you have to do. It's to empower. So what we do is a study group. So it's not a traditional front classroom course where one teacher stands in front of the classroom and everyone knows what the teacher is saying or so. It's a study group, meaning that people come together and together they go through material that we, as Women in Code, provided. So we teach them to teach others. So there are always some more senior people on the same table with you, and they have also the opportunity to explain it to others. We also have, next to our study groups, we have also the opportunity for the people to build real-life projects in hackathons. So a hackathon is, for the people who don't know what a hackathon is a 1 day or maybe sometimes 24 hours or so event, or 2 days event, where you go into groups and build something new. It doesn't necessarily have to be hacking, but it's probably programming, probably also creating a prototype, could also be on paper. And we also have some intensive workshops where we have this classroom style courses also. But this is actually not our main course, because there is lots of offers in Vienna or the German-speaking region anyway, so we wanted to have something special. This is from our last hackathon. We had 70 plus women there, and it was super inspiring to have so many women at the Technical University. Also, and our study groups are usually 25 people. Per event, because we want to have it in a smaller group to have it a little bit more dynamic. And our mission is generally to inspire women to excel in technology through positive, bless you, through positive role models, and we want to have an impact on our city, and now we also expanded to different other cities, so I'm also looking forward to have something in Geneva maybe at some point. And one question we are asked a couple of times is, why only women? First of all, we want to avoid the gender bias that might have some teachers, so we have only women. We discussed it also today on the way here. It's even in the feminist community, it's also a quite controversial topic, and we have only women who are presenting, who are mentoring, who are teaching, who are speaking as women in code. We have also a non-threatening, safe environment. We also have a code of conduct. Natasha also said it. With childcare, for instance, is also very important. And the one question as feedback we often get asked is, isn't it reverse sexism? And let's address the elephant in the room. Let's talk about sexism. Who wants to talk about sexism? No one. Okay, one person. Okay. I just want to show you something. One of the most influential people in IT. Who knows who this person is? No one, really. One of the most influential people in IT.
There was one, but she's older. She was heading Hewlett Packard.
All right, I tell you who this is. This is the CEO of YouTube. And no one of you knew that. Why? Because Susan Budzinski is a woman. So this is some sexism we all have, and we didn't know that. And I'm going to share these slides with you. I put some links onto the slides for you to also research that. She's also a founding member of Google. So she was one of the first employees, as you say. And this is something, she gets mostly ignored by the press, which is worse than bad news of the press. So this is something. Women in tech don't exist. Basically, they don't. We have some statistics about, apparently it's 15% on the technical university, it depends. It's also 18 to 25% in some study regions, a little bit more. But actually, basically women in tech, it's hard to find, especially also women tech speakers. So I'm invited also to lots of conferences because I'm usually also the only woman at the speakers table, so this is interesting. It's now the other way around. But women in tech don't exist anymore. A little bit about the history of women in tech. In the First World War, women were the computers of women are as good in math as boys. Some studies said that women are better in math. But they computed or calculated the trajectories of the missiles in the First World War. In the Second World War, it's always, unfortunately, the world wars where things happen, and also in technology, it's like in German you say it's fortunate when you're unfortunate that something happens in technology, unfortunately, during wars, because then you compete very much more directly. So in World War II, women were the typists who handled the machines. So usually the secretaries who were already typing things were also fast in typing, so they typed the commands for the computers. And we have here one of the pioneers, Grace Hopper, is a computer pioneer. She's called the mother of COBOL. And we have also Evelyn Berezi. Also to show you there were women in tech, but they were most of the time ignored. Evelyn was one of, she just died unfortunately recently, so she was one of the people who were able to tell us something about computer programming, and without people like her, there would not be a Bill Gates, wouldn't have been a Bill Gates or Apple or anything else. These are more prominent figures because there was a movie about about 10 hidden figures, so 3 mathematicians at the NASA were also calculating trajectories and other things. So women were in IT at the beginning. But then things changed. Why? Computers were advertising in the 1980s as boys' toys, as you see here. That was more a little bit of a coincidence, but it was, so boys were more exposed, as we also heard today. Exposure to technology and role models is very important. So boys were more exposed to computers, so it was nothing new for them to also choose a job with tools they already knew. After the 80s, programmers became specialists because then the computer technology became more important. So many people had PCs and also the internet came up. So then it shifted from being the secretary to being the specialist, and more money was involved, and the nerd culture started, and also sexism, unfortunately. But when does sexism start? At which age? When are people confronted with sexism? Does anyone know who this is? That would be so funny. I also didn't know. I could tell this name.
Victoria?
Sorry?
Queen Victoria?
No. Almost. This is Benjamin Roosevelt. This is not a girl. And this is from 1884. And back then, all kids were white. And they had long hair. And as you see, all of you probably, or most of you probably thought this is a girl because of the way they were dressed, like long hair and dress. But back then it was also more a pragmatic approach, because kids were just white, because you can't wash the clothes, you can cook it. So it was just more pragmatic experience that when it gets dirty, you just wash it. And you don't have to care about some coloring or so. And also through some random marketing campaign of infant department stores, pink was the color first was addressed to boys and not to girls. So why are girls are wearing pink? First, one department store said boys should wear pink because it comes from red, and red is a more strong color. It's more dominant. It's more and light blue is more for girls because it's more delicate. But then some department stores changed the view, and from some point in the early 1900s, girls were supposed to wear pink and boys blue. There was also an interesting BBC experiment. I have here the YouTube link, and I'm probably going to share it. Is stereotypical behavior concerning clothes. So in this experiment, in this video, it shows how much the clothing changes how people behave towards the kids. Although in this age it's like maybe 1.5 or 2 years old, you don't really can distinguish the gender. But you can see it concerning clothes. So when a toddler is wearing blue, you are expecting that it's a boy. And even though they did not tell them the names of the kids, people were playing with these kids in a different way. And the thing was that the girls who were pink were the adults who played with these girls. The supposed girls were playing more with fluffy toys, with the dolls, and so on. And the boys got more the technical stuff, something like the cars and the building blocks. So from this age on, already sexism starts. And when kids are exposed to building blocks, probably in their later life, they are also interested in mechanical engineering, more than women who were as girls more playing with dolls and children's kitchen, something like that. So sexism starts early. Girls dressed in pink, boys dressed in blue, and gendered toys lead to stereotypical behavior. There is also a very frustrating study about pocket money, because also girls, when they start getting pocket money from grade school or so, or maybe a little bit later, they get less money than their male counterparts. So girls earn less pocket money. So basically they get used to the gender pay gap, although they are just 6 years old. And also we have sexism in, unfortunately, our language, also with these kids. Boys don't cry, for instance, and you fight like a girl should be an insult, but I think it's not. This is the sci-fi edition of you fight like a girl. So what can we do? This is the big question. This citation is probably not Gandhi. I unfortunately Googled it, also not true. So we want to be the change. So be the change you wish to see in the world. That's why we started Women in Code, because we wanted to stop complaining about everything. We wanted to do something. And every one of you can do something. What do you want to do for our kids? So first of all, it's always a good question to ask not what they want to be when they grow up, because you probably don't have just one job in the future, probably you have a series of jobs. Maybe it's going to change also in the future that we have parallel jobs. So it's better to ask a kid what they want to do when they grow up, not that they have to pick this one job they have in their minds. Also expose kids to non-gender conform stories, literature, movies. I saw here also in the UN shop kids books. There was one book with 100 stories of interesting women and so on. So there is enough literature. Also the studies show that 7.5% of children's books have female heroines. And it's good to also have a little bit of equality in the children's bookshelf. Also avoid children's gendered toys. There is also an interesting article in the New York Times about this, which is also linked. And overcome your personal gender roles, like women always cooking, cleaning up, something like that, and men are going to work. What can you do? You personally? I suggest skip the sexism. It's easy, isn't it? But yes, seriously, everyone has a bias. Even me have a bias. So I have a bias also. But I'm aware of it, and I can reflect on it. Try to be open, try to be inclusive, overcome gender cliches. So also that's very important for me personally this is the first step to break the glass ceiling and avoid sexism. Also, that's an interesting article in Psychology Today about sexism, or this inherent thing in language that, for instance, Le pont versus die Brücke. Brücke means bridge in German also, and this is just food for thoughts for you. That in German, when you say die Brücke, this is a female attribute. That bridges are more. When people were asked to describe bridges, this is something they are beautiful and they are so nice and so on. And when you ask people in Spain, it's the same. It's also male and also in French. When they ask to describe a bridge, they say it's strong and it's dangerous and so on. So we have this in our language also. So I just ask you to be aware of that. So we have it. Be aware of it. Maybe you can choose something. And I'm glad that there are also men in this room. So I'm also addressing you, because Michael told me he was inviting so many women, and I was like, oh no, we have to have men in the room too, because there is a very nice article, unfortunately German, in Spiegel, that was quite recently published, what men can do to be feminists. So there are 40 suggestions. Some of those are the best. I have here only 8 points or so. Read books, watch films, listen to music by women. I mean, do this explicitly. Have a female role model. Every woman has probably one, maybe it's the mother, at least, I hope so. And if you are a man and you don't have a female role model, ask yourself why you don't have one. Inform yourself about pink tags, menstruation, toxic shock syndrome, and the clitoris. I mean, the shape of it, I mean, I was also stunned when I saw the first 3D models of it. Also in the jobs, promote women. I mean, we have that, and I didn't even know that, because in the textbooks it's always like a little, tiny little dot, and now it's so much more. Then another suggestion is be a stay-at-home dad. Pay women as much as you would pay men. Also interrupt men when they interrupt women. And don't laugh about misogynic jokes of your male friends. And lots of other things. So there is a long to-do list for all of the men in this room, because, I mean, you know why. So, sorry about that. That was really frustrating talking about sexism. How about... all right. Thank you for listening.